Welcome back to the 21 Convention 2020 of Orlando, Florida, being held for the first time ever at our very first and inaugural 21 Summit event. Our next speaker is the founder of Strength Camp, CEO of Strength Camp. He has over 2 million YouTube subscribers, and he's spoken twice previously at the 21 Convention and the 21 Convention First Patriarch Edition held last year in Orlando, Florida. He's a proud patriarch of 4, and I think one of the best speakers we've ever had at this convention in our entire 14-year history. Without further ado, please let me welcome back to the 21 Convention stage, Elliott Hulse. Thanks, sir.
Thanks for joining us. Anthony, thank you for putting on this awesome event. Really excited to share with you guys today. This is actually the first of 3 talks I'll be giving this weekend. Each talk builds on top of the previous talk. This talk, I lay the foundation for the next 2 talks, and I got a lot of references. So I'll be reading for a good portion of it. Next. Feminism and the rise of nice guys. So this is now, we went big picture, right? Adam and Eve, we talked about cultural Marxism, we talked about feminism, but now we're getting closer to you guys and what this actually ends up looking like in the lives of basic men. Next. Intersectional feminism, right? So today's radical feminism has morphed into a monster called intersectional feminism. So this is radical feminism. This brand of feminism seeks to incorporate feminism into the civil rights movement by creating a type of oppression hierarchy where some feminists are more oppressed than others based on their gender, race, or ethnicity, class, and ability or disability. Thus, a black male feminist may be considered more oppressed than a rich white female feminist, especially if that black male feminist is disabled. Next. Black Lives Matter organization. Now, Black lives do matter, of course. I'm half black, so at least half of my life matters. What we know about Black Lives Matter is that it's not about justice for black men at all. In fact, the organization is explicitly and fundamentally against black men. It's run by these feminist lesbian women. They want nothing to do with black men. I'm going to read now from their website, their About page. I copied this down about a month ago. Since then, they've changed it. Obviously, because showing your cards sometimes isn't so good, especially if you show them too quick. And I couldn't believe how blatantly they were showing their cards so quickly, but I guess we're there, where they no longer have to hide. The cultural Marxism does not have to hide anymore. It's very obvious what's going on. And they're explicit about it. And here's what they say on their website. We disrupt the prescribed nuclear family structure. Right there. By supporting each other as extended families or villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Where are the fathers? If these women are so interested in the lives of black men, they would recognize that not having a father in the home is the main reason why there's so much chaos. There's so much death and destruction. They want nothing to do with the core issue. They want nothing to do with the solution. There's stirs of sedition and chaos. Continue. They say we foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking. Chaos, disruption, destroying the culture from its most basic foundation. This is not right, but it's where we are. Next. BLM is radical feminism, and it's not hidden at all. You heard the objective of cultural Marxism. This woman, who's a co-founder, calls herself a trained Marxist. Next. BLM is from hell. Co-founder discusses group's occult practices invoking spirits. African ancestral worship. Okay. Next. So this is the result of intersectional feminism. This is how chaotic it has become. This is how backwards we have become. This is how we've ended up. This is the extreme end of Gramsci and Lucas's work in the 1930s. We're here. The result of radical feminism. 2020 has allowed radical feminism to show its true colors, reveal its true motives, and unfold its satanic plan to create chaos and havoc in America under the guise of social justice. It's a lie. If there has been any doubt about the intentions of Marxism, socialism, and feminism, it should now be very clear. Next. If we go back to feminism, or we go back to the Frankfurt School, you'll notice that the stated objectives of the Frankfurt School, feminism seems to encourage each one of them. It's supposed to, that's the point. I've highlighted the ones that are most obvious. The creation of racism offenses, intersectional feminism. You gotta pin everybody against everybody else and create as many different factions and complaints as you possibly can. That's what it does. That's what critical theory does. That's what its point is. Continual change to create confusion. Once again, how many genders do we have? Feminism. The teaching of sex and homosexuality to children. Feminism. The undermining of schools, teachers, and authority. That's sort of neutral, but if you consider the father authority, feminism. Huge immigration to destroy identity, feminism. The promotion of excessive drinking, at least in women. I saw a meme the other day that said, women today will drink like your father, but they can't cook like your mother. Emptying of churches, feminism. An unreliable legal system. And the emptying of churches, when I say feminism, the church is totally effeminate. From the Catholic churches right through pretty much every denomination. The unreliable legal system, if you think about divorce rate, divorce courts, totally unreliable, feminism. Dependency on the state and state benefits, welfare, feminism. Control and dumbing down of the media in America, just watch. How is it the Ghostbusters are all of a sudden women? Why is every superhero a woman now? It's laughable. It's like men are weaker now, and we need women to save us. Feminism. Encouraging the breakdown of the family, obviously, feminism. Next. Now, you got to understand here that I'm not picking on women at all. I got 3 daughters. I've been married to my wife for 18 years. We've been together since we were 14 years old. I love women. But you got to understand, this has to be pointed out because you got to point evil out when evil is present. It doesn't matter who feelings you hurt as a result. A big part of the problem with cultural Marxism in our culture right now is that political correctness has got us all biting our lip. We got to call it like it is. And the fact is, feminism hurts women also. Feminism is a child of communism, Marxism. As we alluded to earlier, the destruction of the family is paramount to destroy a culture. So what you got to do is you got to turn the family against each other, turn the woman against the man. And here we have it. So I'm going to quote here now from Bob Lewis in The Feminist Lie, where he states, at its most basic level, feminism began as a rebellion against marriage and family values. Early feminists believed that once married, a woman's identity disappeared. To gain sympathy, many early feminists reframed the institution of marriage as a form of slavery. To support their view, they pointed out that women didn't have many rights in society that were given to men. While on the surface this appears to be a complaint, upon closer inspection, it completely falls apart. Next. And if you're not sure, if there's any doubt, here are some quotes about feminism from some women, feminists. The complete destruction of the traditional marriage and the nuclear family is the revolutionary or utopian goal of feminism. Cultural Marxism. It's being fulfilled. Next. How will the family unit be destroyed? The demand alone will throw the whole ideology of the family into question, so that women can begin establishing a community of work with each other and we can fight collectively. Women will feel freer to leave their husbands, those oppressors, and become economically independent, either through a job or through welfare. The subversion is so complete. Next, the nuclear family must be destroyed. Whatever its ultimate meaning, the breakup of families is now objectively a revolutionary process. Next. Of course, our talk here and my point here is that men are weak. And the idea here is not to point out the dark side of the mother, which is my next talk. Point out the dark side of women. It's to show how the subversion, the overtaking of cultural Marxism, and the move towards communism and its children, atheism and feminism, brings us to the place where we've got these issues. There's no question, fatherlessness makes men weak. All of these are reasons why the things I read from Tucker Carlson earlier are true. There's no doubt that the breakdown of the family and fatherlessness contributes greatly to the weakening of men over the last 60 years. The graph on the left shows trends since the 1940s to the 2000s. Now, I know that's hard for you to read, but you don't have to. You can just look at the upward trends there, starting at the top. Birth rates to unmarried mother, all the way to the left, that's the 1940s, all the way to the right, 2000s. Divorce rates, all the way to the left, 1940s, all the way to the right, 2000s. Female head of household, 1940s to the left, 2000s to the right, and then here's the cherry on top. Incarcerated Americans, which are 93% male, 1940s to 2000s. So we see that the breakdown of the family is horrible in multiple different ways, but it is a direct reason why men are in jail, men are suffering, the breakdown of the family. So the one on the right, of course, you can't read that, but I put it there, and I can read it for you here. The graph on the right shares some statistics about fatherlessness. It reads, there's a crisis in America according to the U.S. Census Bureau. 19.7 million children, more than 1 in 4, live without a father in their home. Consequently, there's a father factor in nearly all of societal ills facing America today. Research shows when a child is raised in a father-absent home, he or she is affected in the following ways. 4 times greater risk of poverty, more likely to have behavioral problems, 2 times greater risk of infant mortality, more likely to go to prison, more likely to commit a crime, 7 times more likely to have teenage pregnancy, more likely to face abuse and neglect, more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, 2 times more likely to be obese, 2 times more likely to drop out of school. The 2 times more likely to be obese. Has anybody seen this meme going around with Arnold Schwarzenegger's 2 sons? Yes. Isn't it amazing to see that the son that was raised by Arnold is fit, and the one that was raised by his mother is fat? All right. Without the father, there's twice as likely to be obese. Class masculinity. We spoke about ideological subversion, the great brainwashing that has been going on over the past 70 plus years. We talked about cultural Marxism and its plan to destroy the West, take over the entire world, really, but it doesn't do it with bombs and bullets. It does it with media, through Hollywood, through the music. The music is horrible. It destroys us. It does it through all the institutions, as Gramsci said, the long march to the institutions. Destroy the schools, and the schools are destroyed. Destroy the schools, destroy the churches, destroy the media, so on and so forth. So we see that we've taken it, hook, line, and sinker. Big part of the reason why we're effeminate. I would also add to that the tremendous amount of pollution that has our testosterone levels dropping. And then feminism as and then intersectional feminism or radical feminism as the long arm of this subversion, the long arm of cultural Marxism and how it has created a generation of nice guys where we're all really suffering and the whole world is suffering in a myriad of different ways. Next. And so that's it. That's my talk. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me as I read from my notes. First time doing something like that. I'm usually a lot more animated out behind the thing. But I'll stick around for the next 10 minutes. If you guys got any questions about anything I said there. Thank you. Listen, man, we are at a crossroads. Times are getting tough because we are growing weak. And it is not your fault. Like I said, this has been a great brainwashing. You've got to question everything you've been told. Everything that you hear in the media, Hollywood, the music, the schools, question it all. Open your mouths. Political correctness is cultural Marxism. And the point of cultural Marxism, its end game, is to disintegrate the society. It's to destroy you. When you're being politically correct, you're putting a gun to your head. Recognize that. And when I spoke about Yuri Bezmenov, he says that the great brainwashing is even better than they thought it would be because it's Americans doing it to Americans. It's us doing it to one another. Every time you shut your mouth up, every time you sit down, every time you don't stand up for the right thing, or even consider that most of the shit that we've been told is completely garbage, you're putting a gun to your own head. We're not going to survive. And so, through this, it's my conviction and my intention to raise up whatever remnant is left in the generation that we're currently living through with regard to men. We've got to grow stronger. Otherwise, you saw the 100 million people die in the past 100 years. We're going to very calmly, easily tuck our tails under and march off to our demise. Get on those trains as they take us to concentration camps. In the same way that nobody questions anything about what's going on in the streets or with this virus these days, you're not going to ask any questions when they ask you to go into the gas chamber. You become way too soft, man. So, of course, I got a lot to say about that, but once again, I'm open. They called me Yo Elliott. For 10 years on YouTube, people ask me questions. That's how I became who I am. I like answering questions, so make something up. Yes, sir. I don't care what you do as long as I can hear you.
One last point that I want to make that was really what broke my heart was to discover that feminism, which sound to most people in our world like some sort of a good thing, a progressive thing, ultimately the agenda is to break down the family, destroy the family. It's the stated purpose of feminism. And so in a world where men are weak because there's no fathers, families are being destroyed, it really seems like feminism is the long arm of this movement to destroy our world.